you were in the legislature and you were a mayor as well. And do you think what California government is doing with pushing these mandates and housing, do you agree with it?
Well, fundamentally, I don't, if the system really was working. And, I have a lot of complaints with a lot of local elected officials. And, at the end of the day, our job as an elected official, when I was one, is to, serve and represent the community. And yet, I've sat at many city council meetings when there are 12 angry men, 12 angry people standing at that dais yelling at me. And the question is, how many voices does it take for you to change your opinion? So in a city like 350,000 and Anaheim, do 5 voices represent the whole? Or does that position people have, their philosophy, understanding people have property rights, there's a need for housing, are those 5 voices going to change that philosophy? And unfortunately, a lot of elected officials, I would say yes. That those people standing there yelling at them from, that dais, don't do this anywhere near my house, all of a sudden takes away that person over there's, property rights, the right to build on that piece of property something that is the highest and best value to the community. So on the local level, I certainly see the pressure, because you live under that pressure at every one of those city council meetings.
People don't want the development, right?
And usually people want development, but not near their house. So they will all say, oh, I understand this, I'm not anti-housing, but do something away from me. And therefore the legislative perspective is kind of missing that local element, but also missing some realism of how those issues are to be applied. So your question to me is, do I support a principle of local control, letting local city councils, local decision makers make those decisions? I guess my answer would be yes, except the operative word there isn't local, it's control. So what control are you willing to let a locally elected person or a state elected person have on your property and your life? And I think that's the challenging question, that a lot of people only want to talk about, okay, who's going to control this, as opposed to what level of control should anybody have over someone who is has an interest in building $1.5 million townhomes on an old shopping center parking lot. Well, yet there are folks all around us that have tried to do that have been pushed back. So if you want the much more liberal legislature to be the ones creating all these new ideas, to say we're going to try to get around the locals because they're stopping housing, but at the same time those state laws, as I said, add additional burdens on that development, and very few of those state laws that have passed will produce much outcome in new housing, sadly.
You seem very passionate about this.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, first off, being a person who kind of cares about how people live their life. I mean, when you look at a community where the majority of one-bedroom apartments, that during my growing up time, those were for people who left their parents' house or single folks. Now they are families of 4 are living in one-bedroom apartments. 2 families are living in 2-bedroom apartments. The house next door to my sister in Anaheim, I think it's a 1,500 square foot house. I think it's 3 bedrooms, has 3 families living there, 15 people. And people can say, well, they can choose to go someplace else. Well, there's jobs here. And a city and a community wants a strong economy. You want, in Anaheim, you have the Anaheim Resort and Disney and all of the great successes and value to our county and our city from that. But if somehow you don't realize those people can't live in Riverside and drive here for a job that pays the wage that does, you won't have a strong economy. So what people will do is find a place to live and those aren't necessarily great conditions. I personally believe you need to build a lot of market rate housing, and as people then have more housing, there's more opportunities for people to move out of this type of house and live in this type of house, and they will move up that housing ladder, which many people who own a home today did. And I think that's what's missing. It's not, you can say, I don't, there are folks that have said to me, I don't want certain people to live near me, be it renters or lower income people, that type of thing. But the point is, people who have to work closer to their job because that job is a great means for them to support their family, that family needs a place to live. And I don't think government should be overly involved, but if it's left to the market system, they wouldn't be. But now a lot of people, be they conservative or a liberal, push back on even that market system, and therefore push back on that opportunity to grow the economy, to lift all boats in Orange County.